Perfection can feel like an unreachable summit. No matter how hard you try, it always seems just out of reach. You chase it, striving for flawless results in every aspect of your life, believing that anything less means you failed. Whether it's at work, in relationships, or even in your hobbies, this relentless pursuit of perfection can consume your time, energy, and mental well-being. But what happens if you simply let go of that burden? What if you stop trying to be perfect? It might seem like everything would fall apart, but surprisingly, the opposite often happens. Things get better. Let's explore how. True happiness starts to surface. The pursuit of perfection often comes at a cost to your joy. You become so consumed with correcting every small error and reaching impossible standards that you miss out on experiencing life as it comes. The constant pressure to measure up to some elusive ideal leaves little room for spontaneity or fun. Perfectionism robs you of the simple pleasures that come from enjoying the moment as it unfolds, flaws and all. By letting go of the need for everything to be flawless, you open yourself up to authentic happiness that comes from being present in the moment rather than dwelling on what's not right. Imagine enjoying a dinner with friends without worrying if your story made you sound impressive enough. Picture waking up feeling at peace, not starting the day with a mental list of everything you could have done better yesterday. When you stop trying to be perfect, you discover that contentment isn't in perfect outcomes, it's in embracing the beautiful imperfections of everyday life. True happiness is found in authenticity, not in chasing some unattainable idea of perfection. Freedom from fear of failure. One of the biggest obstacles to personal growth is fear of failure. Perfectionism amplifies that fear, making even the smallest mistakes seem catastrophic. You may fear that if you're not perfect, you'll be judged or rejected. This fear can be paralyzing, preventing you from taking risks or stepping out of your comfort zone. But what if you no longer feared getting things wrong? What if you welcome mistakes as part of the journey rather than as signs of weakness? When you stop striving for perfection, you start to see failure differently, not as something to avoid at all costs, but as an inevitable and valuable part of learning. Suddenly, taking risks doesn't seem so daunting anymore. You can try that new hobby, go for that job, or voice your opinion without fearing the outcome. Freedom from perfection allows you to move forward without the weight of potential failures holding you back. Each mistake becomes a stepping stone toward growth and improvement rather than a source of shame. Real relationships blossom. Perfection often isolates people. When you're always trying to present a flawless version of yourself, it becomes difficult to truly connect with others. Vulnerability, openness, and authenticity are the foundations of deep relationships, but those are also the very things perfectionism tries to hide. By striving to appear faultless, you put up walls that prevent genuine connection. Choosing to be imperfect means embracing your flaws and allowing others to see them too. It invites real conversations, genuine laughter, and deeper bonds. You realize it's okay to admit you're struggling, to ask for help, or to make mistakes. This honesty draws people in, and relationships move beyond the surface, becoming more meaningful and supportive. You'll find that when you stop trying to project an image of perfection, others are more likely to open up and be vulnerable with you too. This creates a stronger sense of community and trust, both of which are essential for fulfilling relationships. You get your time back. Perfectionism is a thief. It steals your time. How often do you go over an email again and again, looking for that one mistake that might make someone think less of you? How many hours do you spend redoing something that was already good enough? Constantly seeking perfection makes you spend more time on tasks than necessary, leaving you drained and your schedule overburdened. When you decide that good is good enough, you take back control of your time. Projects are completed faster, tasks checked off more easily, and you have time to spare for things that genuinely bring you joy. By letting go of the perfectionist mindset, you create room for creativity, relaxation, and exploration, things that often take a backseat when perfection is your main goal. Imagine what you could do with the extra time if you weren't so focused on making everything flawless. More time for hobbies, loved ones, or even just resting. You deserve that. Self-worth shifts from achievements to who you are. Perfectionism ties self-worth to what you achieve. If something goes wrong, it feels like a reflection of your value as a person. This mindset is exhausting, as it requires constant validation through accomplishments, which, no matter how impressive, never feel like enough. The goalposts keep moving, and you never quite feel satisfied with yourself. When you stop trying to be perfect, you begin to value yourself not for what you do, but for who you are. You see yourself as more than your achievements, more than your work or your grades. You find pride in simply being kind, being honest, being you. This shift brings a sense of peace, as your self-worth is no longer subject to the whims of external success or failure. Your value becomes inherent, not dependent on what you produce. Productivity actually increases. It might sound surprising, but perfectionism often hinders productivity. The endless cycle of overthinking, redoing, and doubting means you take longer to complete tasks and sometimes avoid starting them altogether. When the goal is perfection, even small steps can feel overwhelming. Procrastination often creeps in because the thought of starting something imperfect is too daunting. Letting go of perfection means focusing on progress rather than ideal outcomes. This mindset helps you move forward more swiftly, completing tasks with a sense of accomplishment rather than dread. Your productivity improves, not because you've lowered standards, but because you're no longer stalling at every possible point of doubt. You start to work with purpose, not pressure. Done becomes better than perfect, and you start to see real results faster than ever before. Stress levels drop significantly. Perfectionism and stress are closely linked. The constant mental pressure to excel, the fear of making mistakes, and the disappointment of not measuring up, all these elements take a toll on your mind and body. Chronic stress can lead to anxiety, fatigue, and other health issues. Letting go of perfection can bring a breath of fresh air to both your mental and physical well-being. With less pressure to always get things right, you start to feel lighter. Stress levels drop, and you feel more relaxed, even when things don't go exactly as planned. Embracing imperfection means accepting outcomes, good or bad, without placing unrealistic expectations on yourself. You'll find that it becomes easier to breathe, to sleep better, and to approach challenges with a calmer mindset. Life feels less like a race and more like a peaceful journey. Creativity flourishes. Creativity doesn't thrive under pressure. When you are constantly worried about whether your ideas are good enough, you stifle your natural creative flow. Fear of producing anything less than perfect leads to hesitation, doubt, and ultimately missed opportunities to create something wonderful. By giving yourself permission to be imperfect, you open doors for creativity. You try new things, make bold choices, and allow yourself to create without judging every detail. The results may be messy or unconventional, but that's often where true creativity shines. The less you worry about achieving perfect results, the more your creativity is free to explore, innovate, and surprise you. You become more adventurous and daring, willing to experiment without the fear of failure holding you back. Setting healthy boundaries becomes easier. Perfectionism often leads to taking on too much. You agree to every request, say yes to every project, and work late into the night to meet expectations, all because you don't want to let anyone down. This can lead to burnout, resentment, and a never-ending cycle of exhaustion. Choosing to be imperfect means acknowledging your limits and setting healthy boundaries. You start to say no without guilt and prioritize your well-being over unrealistic demands. Boundaries become a way of respecting yourself and understanding that doing your best does not mean doing everything. Letting go of perfection allows you to find balance, conserve your energy, and focus on what truly matters. This not only improves your mental health, but also makes you more effective in the areas you choose to focus on. If this inspired you to let go of the pressure to be perfect, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on living a happier, more balanced life. Let's embrace the beauty of being perfectly imperfect together.